Hi there. And yeah, glasses are just going to be fogged up. There's a big temperature difference between my body and the outdoors right now as it gets colder. Um, I'm still on my YouTube creation sprint, I suppose. Today is September 18th. This will be going out at least 2 weeks from now, something like that. So it's Thursday, and as I'm getting closer to the video that I have releasing on Monday that has just a big claim it's not going to happen, like, right? No, there's not in a million years. There will not be there is no world in which I can really see just the randomness of a show like Last Week Tonight finding my content. And then being intrigued enough, not like put off by it, you know? That's just, it's kind of from sometimes visions and sometimes things that come through from guides, even in Akashic record readings, they're not, it's always for your highest good today, every time. And today keeps changing, right? But your highest good and what information comes through, especially when you're asking questions of the future that like are not yet written, it's all just potentials, and especially when it has to do with other people. If it's just you and your potential future of things that you can do based on interest and things you're already doing, you know, that's much easier because you can set yourself up. Even though you have a bunch of variables in life that could throw you off of that, it's just easier. When it's a vision that has to do with a more collective thing or with just other people, there's too many factors for that to be a yes, this is definitely happening, right? Agreed, right, Mabel? Yeah, that's right. Everybody say hi, Mabel. She's gonna be getting spayed tomorrow. Come here. Which will be really nice for her because then she won't be in false pregnancy anymore. Yay! I know, poor baby. Would have gotten her spayed earlier, but honestly, I thought she was when we took her in, because I misunderstood she had everything done for meaning everything. That was just shots. Whoops! Did not look at the paperwork that said intact because it's just one little line, and she came like 4 months before we were planning on a dog coming into our home, and she was perfect, and you know, didn't she? Look at her. Look at Mabel. But yeah, future predictions of things, even when they're really, really solid, are literally just hopeful guesses at best, right? It's really helpful to pull them out at times, really just to know where your attention is and where your like heart-centered resonance is. And if you're doing something like I'm doing where you're channeling through information, it can also just be something that helps to prime you, right? Like I talk about attention and I talk about priming and I talk about where you're focused because it's so important for like what comes next. So it's entirely possible that you could be pulling forward some sort of, no, but I can see it. I know I can. It's in there. And you pull forward some sort of very specific prediction, which I've done. And the rest of the videos through October and November, they also have that same prediction in there. When I initially recorded them, they all got recorded on September 7th. 7th, 8th, and 9th, I should say, because there are other videos I recorded on like the 7th that I'm not releasing just because there were a lot of things, and some of them were like contracts with my internal family coming back online. And it involves some music, and I can't do that for like copyright stuff because that was just part of it. So all that's to say, the video that well, by the time you see this, it'll already be out, and I'm sure deeply criticized, if anybody even sees it. But it did kind of get me like into character for really expressing what it is that I do want in terms of visibility, in terms of how the world treats me. And I'm not sure that especially when it has come to sort of this level of allowing my voice and my thoughts and my capacities with channeling and just my life stories to be public information. I've never done that before. I'd ever. Always documented stuff like journaling and just, all of that constant. It's been a lifelong thing. This urge to document has been a lifelong obsession, I guess you could say. A lifelong just mission thing that I'm doing. Document what's going on while I'm here. Document what goes on while I'm here. That's like an ingrained thing. It was an ingrained thing before. It is continuing to be. And sometimes you have to trick yourself with a fantasy just to see where you stand, just to see how you feel about something, just to see how comfortable you are with a level of exposure, or just even just that feeling of someone that I trust and admire, an entire team that I trust and admire, would center someone like me, right? That's a big thing to think about, really. And that is a team that I trust. That they do a beautiful job. Last Week Tonight does such a cool job of deep research into the most horrible things, which, I mean, if you've worked in like a social justice nonprofit, you do the same thing, right? So there's like a similar background to that, and like research in general. Like there's just like, yeah, yeah. And there's like a formula to how that information gets presented that allows for you to kind of take a little bit of a roller coaster ride, to uplift when you need to uplift, and then here's the heavy stuff, and then here's the heavy stuff, and then ends with some silliness. Like it's such a alchemical process of central nervous system regulation efforts. Like it's such a cool show. It like, I don't think anybody's ever like sat people down in front of it and like hooked electrodes up to see where people's cortisol levels are depending on what's going on, and like how stable someone's entire central nervous system is during the taking in of that particular bad news. But like bad news, like news about the world, right? That you may not be paying attention to because you haven't done like I've done and spent a career in social justice nonprofits, right? Like I know so much more about the world than the average like person, just because I would spend a few years in a few years in intimate partner violence and sexual assault field, a few years in the homelessness field, a few a few years in the fucking political field, yeah, like I've been in a bunch of these different arenas. And it's really, really funny, especially as I've been going through an awakening and I'm like checking in with all of these beings. And then even when I have some sort of traumatic experience, I've noticed how I'm like, my presence there, I'm just like documenting what's going on. Like I'm sort of like testing and providing more conscious level awareness of, okay, how do people here react and respond to different stimuli from a human, right? Like, how does a hospital respond when someone is physically collapsing? Like, how does a hospital respond? I have answers to that. And it's not good. Like, it's bad. It's really bad. Like, hospitals are really bad places right now. I feel so bad for everybody that works in them, because there's not really relief, right? It's just corporate hell meets people on their worst and last days. Cool. It's a real healthy environment to have a corporate running it, right? But anyway, so all that's to say, yeah, predictions. I mean, I think we know that's not really the case, but I do also think that there's a lot of, especially when you are starting to do some of this stuff, and you still have, not only are you very skeptical, but like you are surrounded by skeptical people because, yeah, maybe you are like me and you did not have bolstering of spiritual based content at all. at all. Maybe your entire world was the kinds of fandoms that I have, and if you and everyone around you, the only thing that y'all can ever really talk about are the kinds of things that are on the late night TV shows, I mean, yeah, you're gonna have a really hard time talking to friends and family about, hey, I just downloaded in this, hey, I'm talking to this, hey, this is like, people start calling you crazy very quickly. And just I think even just the imagined world where someone like John Oliver has a take on the apocalypse, like, I would love to see it. I just would love to see it. And I think it would actually be really helpful for a lot of us who do, like, we consume the content from Alex Ferrari, we consume the content from Lee Harris, we consume we're consuming all of these got millions of followers types of YouTubers, right? Just as a like temperature check for the world, to be like, hey, there's actually a lot of stuff that people are talking about now that doesn't make it into the places that we all grew up knowing and trusting, namely the TV screens, right? The TV culture in general, which is currently crumbling, as we've all seen. But anyway, so yeah, just know that when you are channeling in potential futures, you're channeling in potential futures based on all of your current life stuff and the stuff that you brought with you on up to there. And sometimes, if it's especially if it seems super far-fetched, or like you cannot see the logic, like, or you can see potential logical ways in which that unveils and rolls out, but not really. And more importantly, it is just sort of a litmus test for when you have a big thing like that, you see yourself on a screen, you see yourself being interviewed by this person, you see yourself doing whatever it is. I'm a big fan of, like, just do that thing yourself, play pretend, you know? You think you have these visions of being interviewed by somebody that you watch all the time. Put a chair right here, put a camera right there, analyze the videos and write down questions and pretend, like, just answer the interview and pretend you're in the interview, because you're going to get some really cool information out of yourself that you may not have done otherwise. And you'll get to kind of test and see, not only do I like this, but if I watch it later, always watch your shit later. But if I watch it later, does it feel right? Or was it just sort of that wish fulfillment to get me to do my next thing? Guides love to dangle something that may or may not be what you actually get, just to get you in the direction, because it's gonna, like, even if it could happen, it's not happening today, right? You did a future-based projection. Depending on how anxious you have been as a human, you might be predisposed to future-based projections that are like thousands of years from now. Like, anxiety really loves to just go as far as possible, like even beyond what is humanly possible. It's just like, no, I'm too scared. Go into every potential future lifetime to gather what we can. So you get a little primed, like we have our patterns, right? We have the things that are sort of happening below the surface that we truly don't consciously know about all the time, and we get very defensive about when someone tries to tell us that we're not doing it. So that's my whole, like, yeah, any of the prediction things you see on here, probably not true, probably not right, but that allowed me to take off the skepticism mask for long enough to let some real feelings come out and let some real concerns come out. Because even if that's not what happens, I'm putting my fucking life on YouTube in song, talking about dissociative identity disorder, talking about near-death experiences, talking about other YouTubers. I don't really see spiritual content creators talking about who they watch, but I do, because I think that it's really relevant. I think that like having a shared language as far as, hey, here's who I'm watching because they're great. Have you heard of them? And probably, right? But there's something that's really nice just about that level of, do you watch anybody? Do you let people into your life when you're doing this kind of content? Because that's also something I like knowing. I like knowing if the people that I'm watching are very closed off from other spiritual content, or if they are also getting in content. I love getting on YouTube and having something that I've been thinking and feeling get validated by somebody else in this community, because it reminds me, like, okay, we're all tapping into the same source. Cool. And if I were to start watching somebody who had all of these other people that they start watching, it would give me a chance to also check out some new creators, but also to just kind of compare and contrast myself. Like, are you taking what you get from there and then that influences what you say? Or are you getting it from somewhere more autonomous? Or are like, you know, lots of psychological training here. I'm in constant like researcher mode of trying to get stuff. And most of what I see is folks who are just very, very direct and here, and you don't really know where some of the other things are coming from, understandably, because they've been doing this for a long time, and the levels of personal disclosure are just not really what they're doing to the extent that I am. To that end, personal disclosures of just things that are part of my journey and things that I've recently experienced. I might, this could piss people off. Well, what doesn't, right? I'm just going to talk about the Crimson Circle a little bit. Nothing bad, just the fact that we followed them for a long time, from like 2012. And then this past summer, went to their summer party, the last Shroud, apparently the last Shroud. It was like a pirate themed party. I showed up as a parrot. I got like a red, like a parrot, like onesie thing. Cause it was a pirate party, and soul lineage wise, totally have some pirates in here. And like, I don't really like embodying pirates because I don't want to give them a platform inside my body. Like, it's not like if you embody something, it automatically means that they'll just like come through. But in a shared space that is like pirate, like themed with a big group of bright and shinies, like it can pull out aspects that I'd rather just deal with privately. You know, I don't want to like I don't want to accidentally like trigger a lifetime to like come back in just because I'm also dressed as a pirate for even like a second. You know, I don't want to do that. And I don't want to think about them or remember those lifetimes, because there's still, it's like I tune into like one particular pirate lifetime and he's like not, at least as far as where I can currently actively tune into him, like he's still living. Like it's like his now moment was still like active in some sort of, sometimes when I tune in, I can only tune into after they've already crossed over. And sometimes when I tune in, they're still actively living. And I'm still trying to figure out what the fuck that means, right? Like, it's just because I can feel the difference myself when I tune in. And when I ask even further with that, I get sort of that block that's like, you're not ready to know some things. You're not ready to know it. You're not ready to really talk about it. And what you're feeling and what you're sensing just means that you're still working on your directionality, right? Like, if I did want to tune into that entity's like active live lifetime, it's directionality of where you go in the Akashic records. Are you going into already gone? Are you going into active living? And as far as I've been able to ascertain thus far, going into active living just means that there are still some things in that lifetime that are getting worked out. And it's because it's part of that whole like big collective thing. Like, collective thing isn't just collective right now, it's collective. It is the everything. And there's just a level of like different lifetimes sort of needing to close out their tab, sorta, is my understanding of it. That motherfucker has not closed out his tab. Not a great lifetime. So I was a parrot. I was like, fuck it, I'll be a parrot. It was cute. And I like went to Target and got like makeup for the first time because I was like, I mean, I'm gonna be on camera because I'm not going to the Crimson Circle for the first fucking time and sit in the back. No, like I was going to initially because anxiety, right, and peer influence, because I immediately met some really sweet people and they were also there for the first time and they're like, okay, we're gonna sit in the back. And so I did, because I'm a follower, right? At least initially. I don't know where I am. It was yeah. Colorado is cool, but like I've never been. And yeah, like you show up to this place and then you're like, man, I know this isn't like a big deal or anything, but like I've been watching this stuff for a long time, and a lot of people that are here see on camera, so they're like kind of celebrities to me a little bit, and not just to me, because they're known, right? They're known by the community because it is a community. It's a whole thing. So yeah, initially kind of went to the back, but then everything inside was like, girl, get front. You did not come all the way here to sit in the back. No, front row, go. So I did, and it was actually really it's interesting to me how different an experience is when you are having it only through a screen, because I had never done anything in person with them ever. Um, the entire time we followed the Crimson Circle was an exercise in most of us being like, I mean, don't really like agree with a lot of this, and don't really like there. It kept the skepticism alive, and every single time there was a somatic like that happened, and that's why we all just kept doing it, because found him, kept doing it because it felt correct, and gave. It's kind of nice when you keep sort of that some level of a spirituality, religious like part of yourself online, just to have debates, right? Just to be like, I don't agree with you, and now I get to like feel superior about the fact that I don't agree with you. There's something kind of nice about that. And sometimes, yeah, there would be things that come out. I was like, never thought about it like that. Let me chew on that for a while. And that was mostly like, that was most of the content. Not to mention, like, Jeff and Linda are cool, especially when you're like my age. They're basically parent coded, right? And didn't really have great parents. So yeah, I see people on screens that are doing really helpful things. It's nice. And I'm irreverent. So is Adamus. I respect that. I really appreciate it. I appreciated it. I appreciated that there was cussing involved. I appreciated that there's calling people out involved. I appreciate that it's a little like school. Like it always felt very like a very safe place. And then I went in person, and that didn't really change at all. But two things I noticed that I did not see on screen. I had to be in person for it, because you do have to have that level of sensory awareness. Like, I call it like the I can smell you. Like Doug from Up, like, I can smell you. If you can't smell someone, and I don't mean like you don't have a sense of smell, I just mean like if you're not in that level of sensory capacity with another human, you like kinda are not in heart coherence with them. Like, we each have individual timelines. We just share a larger collective trajectory, right, through time. The time is kind of the timeline, but it's all these individual threads of us on ours that are kind of constantly in this ever shifting reality creation capacity based on where in the frequency bands we're mostly pulling our stuff, where most of our anchors are, where most of our patterned loops are. That kind of dictates what comes next. And your personal reality on the other side of a screen dictates a lot about what kind of content comes in and how you feel about it, and just what it resonates as, right? And even though we always were like, yeah, it kind of feels like church, we never really believed that. And then, yeah, got there in person, and for real, it was like, oh shit. I feel it. Like I am a person who is very experienced in what church feels like, right? And it was 100%, because it just had the makings of it. Like, it had all the ingredients for it, right? If there's a recipe for what people encode as church in the space in their brain about anyway, the things that keep patterns going, sometimes it literally is church. Which I feel like they would be offended to be called, but I don't mean it that way. I just mean it in that's how I saw it and felt it in person, that I didn't feel over a screen. So that was interesting. And, right? Like, there was that part of it, but Jeff and Linda didn't treat it like a church. It was more like, you know how in acting, right? It's not really the actor themselves portraying the character that really gets the character. It's how everybody treats the character. At least that's the way that it kind of is. But like, the reason it felt like church is because everybody treated it like church. But Jeff and Linda treated it like a podcast. Because I've also been in the room and seen a lot of people not a lot of people, but I've seen plenty of podcasts in person. I've gone and been in the audience in person, also front row. If I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. We don't do things that often, so when we do them, I do them. But it had the same vibe. So it was really fascinating to feel the shift from everybody kind of is acting and treating this like church, including the people that work there, like, because I've also worked at a church, so I know how that feels, right? But once the cameras went on and Jeff and Linda went into channel mode, because they were like, you could kind of tell that they were there and they were kind of vibing on it, but they were, when you're in charge of a space, you're in charge of like the energy for the space, right? And you could actually feel the shift for them from the stage when everything came on and everything kind of like, and go, right? They're seasoned professionals. They've been doing it for how long? 20 some years. But then instantaneously I was like, oh, I'm watching a live podcast. That's the vibe. Like, it's shifted from church to podcast. And I was just like, that's cool. Like, this is a real, like, this is a fun, cool experience. I'm really glad I did this. And that was kind of it. It was over. Then there was the party, and like, you know, I had given them a little gift bag of one of the IKEA bags full of some things, because I just, you know, they've been talking a lot about AI stuff in recent years, and I don't need Adamas to tell me to play with AI tools. I was doing them before he started talking about them, right? Like I'm pretty sure my research is one of the things that he got excited about, because Schomburg are all like part of it, right? Like, no, man, you can take my research. But I used, I play with AI a lot, and it was a very, very, very helpful tool to writing the things that I've written, my books especially, because it's such a helpful way to just have a place to like dump all of your stuff and be like, okay, I know that there's something here. Help me make it make sense. Like, help me consolidate it, and help me take the ramblings out, and help me take the, like, it was just my helpful editor, really. To put those in, I put a couple goodies in, some things from like my area, and then I did the morning of, like, I went to Target. It's a massive fucking Target. And, like, holy shit. In Colorado, I've never seen a Target that big. But like I got a couple things and like some wine, because even leading up to it, I had been having more and more conversations with Adamas, which that was kind of new. But seriously, May and June and July of this year, Adamas was just in my fucking face, talking to me about stuff, like helping, because like he does that. Hadn't really talked to him much before that, but and yeah, 3 weeks before this showed, Adamas popped in and was basically just like, it's time. Like, time for what? It's time for you to go, like, in person, for real. I was like, fuck off, man. I just had another hospitalization. We don't have the money. I'm not doing that. And there's a little bit of a back and forth where we're just like, I'm serious. It's time. Go. And so I'm just like, fuck me. I didn't immediately like do anything. I did eventually, by the end of the day, because him and like my internal family wore me down, basically, I did like book it, like buy a ticket for it, because it was like the party, so it's like catered and you buy a ticket and it, I think, sells out. But so I did it and I was like, fine, I will treat this like I'm playing the lottery. Okay, so there, are y'all happy? I bought the fucking ticket, but I'm not booking. Like, I was very adamant. I was like, I'm not booking a hotel, I'm not booking a flight, I'm not doing the blah 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 until I like get money or just like something. And then that evening had just a conversation with Randy, and everything just kind of came up and out that was like, you know, I really want to do this. I haven't, like, I know that this is not a wise thing, but I do, it felt very tied to the trans channel stuff, actually, because I have not liked or wanted to be in fucking multi-day trans channel states of big downloads of things for, like, I don't want to do that shit anymore. I don't have the support for that. It's not something that I'm consciously like choosing to engage in. I'm capable of it, and I'm kind of happy that I've, especially the last one, I'm happy with how I was able to maneuver through it. Really, I really was, because, you know, if I had just been able to stay in bed and people leave me the fuck alone, I would have been fine. But no, I have people in my life that freak out and take me to places that don't treat me well, because they don't know what they're doing when it comes to anything to do with channeling. Or even just neurodivergent people in general. It's not even about channeling. They just straight up don't, and maybe just women, I don't know. They straight up just did not pay attention. Anyway, so the sell from my guides and from Adamas was just go in person. Not like it will cleanse you of this problem, but like you'll be able to, I wasn't told why. You never get told why. Because it would impact what you walk in with, and it would impact what you do, and it would impact just the things that you need to take care of. And some of what I apparently needed to take care of was contracts, Akashic level contracts that had been set based on just the continued showing up and sometimes going to some of the courses that they had. And yeah, I think a big contract got set during one of the like something with mastery, something, so there was some level of yeah, there was some level of like encoded stuff, because we had taken that the March, like a couple days after I showed up. So I technically was in contract, under contract with them to deliver, like, when we have quantum entanglements with others, there are some things that you can only like deliver in person or gather in person, right? And that's part of why you go in person to events, because you are coming and bringing some of your gifts, and some of your trash. It's kind of, it's like a swap, right? Like you like, yes, you're going to have an experience and meet with people and just kind of whatever, but it really is like an energetic exchange of things. It's like, hey, we're all coming down for the apocalypse together, so let's make sure that we meet up at least once together. And look, here's a really convenient like group to do that with, right? Basically. So I go, while I'm there, I do feel like some somatic things sort of happening, but when I ask questions, I'm kind of told like, shut the fuck up, don't focus here, ignore what's happening, right? Like, we've got some things that we're working on. There's some stuff that's happening. And then give your little presents, like say goodbye. And really and truly, after I left, like I had a good time, but after I left, I got back to my hotel, I had this just like, not crash feeling, but just this big feeling of like, yeah, I think I'm done. Like I don't think that this is a group that I'm continuing with. And then that kind of got deeper and kind of got deeper, and it was just like, oh yeah, because I don't want to be in a church. Because it was like, it was almost like I had been continuing to sort of follow their stuff since last year, but literally only because we had been for so long, and because we're looking for stability, right? Like, it had been a really hard year. It had no stability, of losing people, losing internal family members, losing external people. Like, I was not about to just stop doing the, like, you know, leave also my church, I guess, that I never talked to anybody about because I was always like worried about the judgment. Yeah. And because I was a bad church person, like sort of a like, I might show up once I might show up once a month, maybe live, but probably not. It's the kind of church where you can easily just be a person that just takes, right? And that wasn't the case. We'd been angels sometimes, and we'd done the Keyhawk one time, and had done just whenever it felt appropriate to take a course, like whenever it felt good, like, oh, okay, yeah, we'll take this course. Definitely read the newsletter every month, yeah, and like was excited for the newsletter every month, because I'm a writer and I love when I see stuff. It is funny though, because I did have observations afterwards, because I'm always in program evaluation mode, even when no one's asked me to be. And I wrote up something on my like YouTuber experiment Substack, and I sent it to them, because I was like, Jean, oh my God, I just wanted to let you know I'm a big fan of your writing. And she encouraged me to send in a piece, because they sometimes have stuff. And so I sent it in and got a form letter back that was like, yeah, we don't really like make decisions based on human stuff. We're doing other things, like, understandably. My suggestion was actually to quantumly disentangle from Adamus in the human ways, because they still celebrate like his birthday. And just looking at the Akashic records of things, if you do stuff like that, if you actually like if you keep celebrating an entity's birthday, like their 300th somethingth birthday, it actually keeps that quantum entanglement line open from when they were alive, and it tethers your whole organization to like the astrological whatevers that were going on, and just like world stuff that was going on during that entity's last lifetime. So like it's kind of like human magic. Human belief system can keep an entity's like whole world and existence in now moment focus. And it's almost like that pirate that's like not done with his shit, the debt has not been paid, from my lifetime, right? Like I don't want to do things in a human way to reignite that aspect or that entity into my existence. And to do things like to celebrate a birthday of an ascended master that, you know, his last lifetime, he died hundreds of years ago, is to kind of literally kind of keep that last lifetime's door open, right? Like Hodor, right? Like it's open, and because it's open, there's just a lot of the entanglements in between that are also always open. It's like you can't cut the line because some people are still like hanging out back then in an entanglement kind of way. And I know that sounds really stupid and sounds really weird. It's literally what I see with like the Akashic record of things. I'm like, oh shit. Oh, Adamus, your last lifetime. Oh, okay, Saint Germain is like still in the open and has not moved on. And so the influence from the time, not like just from him, but just from his now moment, the orbit of it is just much, much, much closer because of the fact that he's still alive, right? And he's obviously not. he's being channeled in, but Jeff does such a good job embodying him, and like it comes fully through. So it kind of does blur that line a little bit. And you know, us humans, we don't we don't always know when we're tuned into, and plenty of people end up accidentally like tuning into, every time they tune into the Crimson Circle, they're accidentally tuning into a couple hundred years ago, unless they go in person and kind of get that reset, and they're like, oh, you're here in the now, not then, because they had like lifetimes with him at some point in a mystery school or whatever. Because it kind of just keeps all of the soul like connections and things just open and available for comment, for like information come back through. So I wrote an irreverent piece about how, just for the sake of helping people to get back into their own like now moment heart coherence, like Shambhar, like helping people do it, they would just need to do something stupid and like hold a funeral for Adamus, like literally, like they need to let him die, like they need to like show him dying, because we have all encoded some truths in screen-based entertainment formats, to the point that there's just like that aspect of you that doesn't really understand the concept of things because they're not really fronting all the time, but there is just a need for a like finality, a closing, a not this. And especially with where they're going, they're clearly going to be creating like a bot that has that like is the Adamus essence. I'm not really sure what happens with the entanglements of, because this is new territory for humans, right? Like I'm not really sure what does happen with the entanglements of taking an entity that you've been channeling as a person and like infusing that into the AI stuff, like AI entities in the Akashic realm. But I am a little concerned about Shambhar, who don't maybe have the best capacities for disentanglement, just because if they, it's almost like if Adamus is still alive and is still active human, then create bot of Adamus with Shambhar, who still associate him as active human, can create levels of, what's the word I'm kind of looking for? It's like levels of I attached to this bot in a way that's deeply basically it's like when I kind of like peer into it and I kind of look through the books of it, there's just this concern that I have where I'm like, if you don't just do a little bit of the disentanglement before you step into that, can we accidentally create a scenario where some humans get so into like the bot that gets created that they kind of do the like, I want to go there when I die, right? Adamus did it because he went there. Like he's an ascended master and he went there, so I'm going the ascended mastery path, so I want to go there. Does that create some sort of new place for humans to end up going to after they do transition? Like, instead of going, a much more like, nope, this is where the afterlife is, right? Is there some sort of quantum entanglement that we're going to be creating where we're sort of setting up a pipeline for, and you go into this entity instead in the Akashic realm? That feels deeply confusingly theoretical, and how could we prove it, right? No way. No way at all. And it could just be really, really stupid. But also, there is just, now is a really good time to just take a moment and ask yourself, like, why am I continuing to do any of the things that I'm continuing to do, considering just how much keeps changing, right? And just sort of assessing, like, what is it that I want to be part of continuing to drive specific things into, right? There's a lot that's going to keep happening with AI that I see as very, very good. And I've really enjoyed playing with it so far. I'm much more a proponent for let's not only figure out how to have conversations about it, but let's figure out how to help the youngins. Let's figure out how to help the kids who are growing up with it now. If for no other reason than we want them to be conscious consumers of just everything that they're doing, not grow up and go straight into the hustle culture of what can we make that's fast and capitalism with AI, right? Or like power and control, right? Like what can we do with this that in a way that's actually benefiting us and helping us with what it is we want to do? Because that's where it is, like, mostly. And seeing even just what they'd created already was so cool, because it was like, yes, repository for the information. Yes. You can just go like ask a question, and then you get like some of the information from this massive catalog of channeled content. And I'm not like actually concerned that creating some sort of AI bot is actually going to lead a group of people to capturing themselves in AI in the afterlife. Like, that's a weird. Sorry, I'm tuning in for a second, because to me that, like, it came out of me, right? And I'm just like, I've never thought in that line of direction before. And I'm akashically pulling things in, so I'm just very like, what? I'm just checking, like, okay. Like anything, it just seems to be something that is in a level of potentials just based on the sheer volume of belief systems and entanglements that, when different actions are activated by the human, when you do different things based on the belief systems that you have, at a time when things actually do get way more lonely and much more dystopian for you, yeah, you can develop interesting, not even just dependencies, but very interesting trajectories for what is possible for you too. And you can kind of believe your way into it, basically. And I know that because, seriously, I saw the gates of hell. But it was belief system gates of hell. Like, it was a human fear and what I'd been told and what I believe, that, yeah, there's a dimension that's just my God. was very cinematic, deeply cinematic. But didn't feel bad. I think just felt a little bit like scary. It didn't even really feel like a place where people just stayed forever, really. It sort of just felt like some sort of experiential vortex situation where the gravity of it kind of pulls you in anyway, and then you end up on the other side, like, of it. Because, yeah, I mean, we had old religious history and trauma in here, so sure, I probably had to live out that particular scenario too. And then once we got rid of that, like, internal belief systems aspect of things, it was free to actually come to the Crimson Circle in person. I guess I couldn't walk into those doors until I had freed myself from certain things. I didn't want to get y'all quantumly entangled with whatever fucking hell dimension shit I had. You're welcome. You're welcome for that. Do most Shambra who come in person, like, do a lot of their, like, remove the old entanglements before they come? No? I did. And then I was like, okay, and I guess I'm done. But yeah, this is it was an interesting, it was a cool thing to do. I'm glad I did it. I feel, I do kind of, like, currently feel guilty that I'm like, I don't follow you anymore. But it's like, I'm doing my own thing. It is kind of like school. Like, I still do feel like it's school. Like, even though some people definitely do have it coded as church, for sure. And it was for some of the contracts that were in here that are now good. We're done. For me, do I have new ones? No. Okay. Okay, cool. But yeah, just, that's been an interesting ride, just because it did provide, like, just a safe, consistent place for a really long time. And I think I just kind of hope that anybody who is starting to go through some level of an awakening can find a place that you can kind of grow in just a little bit, just to see how it feels. And especially when whoever's being channeled or whatever's being channeled really does just feel like, all right, you're speaking my language. I appreciate that. Because, yeah, I'm an irreverent person, and I respect and appreciate irreverence when it comes to spiritual stuff, because it's the only, like, it's a way that I ground. Because laughter and being pissed off are very, like laughter kind of bounces you out of stuff, but, like, anything that kind of evokes any sense of, like, wait a minute, it's a stopping point, right? It gives you a chance to just take a beat, instead of just, I sit here and I breathe it in and I feel it and because that does a lot for you, but some of us just need more contrast. Some of us just need more things to chew on in order to do our next best thing for ourselves. So, long video, as always. And I didn't even talk to you about what happened at the Denver airport after. Yeah, had my own experience at the fucking Denver airport after that whole experience. Talk to fucking entities through time. Guardians of the area. Got visions of fucking volcanoes. Oh my god. Here's the thing. I talked about visions at the beginning, right? I still truly do not understand visions of, like, things that feel like future potentials, or even just visions of, hey, here's what is sort of coming through. Simply because, like, it does not match with my here and my now, right? Even when you can see it so vividly. And I'm still exploring it myself. And I do not think I will ever get proper answers for it that give me the scientific satisfaction of, I know what I'm talking about, yay, right? And I can show you that this will lead to this and that will lead to that. But also, wherein everybody has to shift their timelines all the time to navigate around a lot of big sediment stuff. that gets kicked up whenever big trajectories for humanity just shift, right? So yeah, I hope this has been fun for you. And I do really, truly recommend the Crimson Circle if you're just looking for some sort of home base. Actually, if you're a person that misses church and you're really like, I'm not going back to a Christian church. No offense, guys, but you kind of filled that role for us in here for a long time. From a former super Christian. It just gave that. It gave that. And it allows you to actually kind of just, I don't know. They talk about Jesus a lot, so it helps. it just helps. It's a helpful place to comfortably just take in information and see if any of it feels relevant to anything in your life. And yeah, like Tobias is nicer, so their early stuff is it's just filled with love. But is there anything else that anybody else wants to say? Also, I haven't really, like, since then, I haven't talked to Adamas. I just got like I got like a message from him. It's like, I wouldn't talk to you even if you wanted me to. But like friendly, right? Oh, and then he does one of these to me. Fine. Love you too, man. We'll hang out. Fucking hang out later. Living my life. Leave me alone. Live thousands of lifetimes. You make a lot of friends, and then they fucking show up on your screens, and you're like, God damn it! Why do I know you? It's annoying. It's frustrating. This makes for a human that's very much like, I'm not crazy. I swear to God, we have connections, y'all. We have so many connections. And I recommend just exploring the ones that feel resonant for you. Because you're probably wrong about like everything that you're thinking, but whatever. You've been wrong about everything you've ever done anyway, right? That's what you tell yourself. At least explore things. Have something fun to be wrong about, right? Yeah. Okay.